Meghan was never my friend. She had an affair with my ex-husband, and I'm fed up remembering all the times she used me and dumped me when I was no longer used.
The once unbreakable bond between Meghan Markle and Jessica Mulroney is shattered, and now, after years of silence, Jessica has finally broken her silence. Insiders claim that the emotional shift is deliberate, raw, and deeply rooted in years of resentment. Sources close to Jessica reveal that she has been holding back for far too long, and that the accusations against Meghan are now spilling out like a storm waiting to break. Once seen as a sister, Jessica now says, "Meghan was never truly my friend." Those close to her say that this is not just a public fallout between former allies, but a reckoning that could unearth deeply buried secrets, threatening Meghan's carefully constructed image of victimhood and resilience. Jessica's perspective has shifted dramatically. Once Meghan's closest confidant, Jessica is now casting a harsh light on what she perceives as betrayal. It's not just the fading of a friendship, but an act of calculated exploitation, with Meghan allegedly crossing boundaries and using Jessica for personal gain. Jessica's pain runs deep, and insiders claim that the emotional weight she carries could unravel a carefully curated narrative. The media has long painted their bond as a fairy tale friendship, full of loyalty, love, and mutual support. But now, Jessica is reportedly ready to pull back the curtain and expose the cracks that were always there. Sources claim Jessica feels completely used, with her loyalty twisted into a one-way street. Her trust was allegedly exploited for ambition and personal gain. Behind closed doors, she reportedly confided in her inner circle, explaining how Meghan discarded her when her value as a step-up faded. The unspoken resentment that had been festering for years finally boiled over in a toxic mess, especially as Jessica navigates the pain of her own marriage falling apart. At the same time, Jessica is reportedly watching Meghan's public life continue to rise, untouched by the truth that Jessica has buried deep within her heart. The final betrayal may have been Meghan's silence during Jessica's most trying public moment, the infamous scandal that rocked her image in 2020. It was during the summer of 2020, amid worldwide protests for racial justice, when Jessica found herself accused of privilege. In the aftermath, Meghan distanced herself publicly from her longtime friend, leaving Jessica to face the storm alone. No support, no kindness, just silence. This moment, insiders say, cracked the foundation of their friendship for good. Jessica, left to fend for herself, began questioning everything. Where was the friend who once confided in her? Where was the loyalty that had been a hallmark of their relationship? And as the isolation deepened, so did the anger. Jessica began to believe that Meghan was not the friend she had once thought, rather a woman who would throw anyone under the bus if it furthered her narrative. Behind the scenes, Jessica's marriage to Ben Mulroney, another prominent figure in Canadian media, was also unraveling. Those who know Jessica claim that her emotional isolation from Meghan contributed to the fractures in her relationship. Sources suggest that what looked like an ideal marriage was actually under strain for years, with tensions growing as Jessica faced more personal turmoil. The stress and frustration from her professional losses compounded the pain she was feeling from her disintegrating friendship with Meghan. When Meghan stepped away from royal duties, it was Jessica who was left exposed, caught in the crossfire of an empire that no longer seemed to value her. In what many describe as a devastating moment of realization, Jessica now believes Meghan used her, discarded her, and moved on without a second thought. While Meghan's public persona remained intact, Jessica was left struggling in the shadows, with her marriage, career, and reputation torn apart. Insiders claim that Jessica's emotional pain is compounded by a sense of being discarded like an afterthought. Her involvement in Meghan's rise to fame had once seemed like a mutually beneficial partnership, but now it appears that Jessica was nothing more than a tool in Meghan's pursuit of power. According to sources close to Jessica, these feelings of betrayal go beyond personal emotion. They extend into the realm of professional manipulation. Meghan reportedly used Jessica's connections to elevate her social status, and once that usefulness ran out, Meghan seemed to vanish from Jessica's life entirely. The fallout from the 2020 controversy and Meghan's subsequent distance made Jessica question her role in Meghan's world. She felt she had given so much of herself, her time, her resources, her emotional energy, but received nothing in return when it mattered the most. Insiders reveal that Jessica's anger and sense of betrayal have reached a boiling point. She is reportedly gathering evidence of what she believes were clear signs of manipulation. Text messages, meetings, and private conversations are allegedly being compiled into a timeline that paints a damning picture of how Meghan systematically took advantage of Jessica. While this may not be a rush toward legal action, sources say Jessica is preparing to protect herself from any public counterattack should Meghan try to discredit her. The desire for justice, not revenge, is said to be her primary motivation now. The suddenness of Meghan's retreat from their friendship, particularly in the aftermath of the controversy, led to a seismic shift in Jessica's perspective. She believes Meghan's silence silence during her darkest moments was a calculated move, one that left Jessica stranded while Meghan continued her career climb. The pain of this abandonment is evident in Jessica's words, which insiders say have been fueled by deep sorrow and a desire to expose the truth. Jessica is reportedly seeking out more confidants in order to gain a wider audience for her version of events, and the accusations she's now circulating privately could shake the very foundation of Meghan's image as a champion for equality and social justice. Jessica's fight isn't about revenge, insiders stress. It's about reclaiming the narrative that Meghan has carefully crafted over the years. The facade of friendship, of support, is now exposed as a lie. In a world where loyalty is often seen as a valuable commodity, Jessica feels she was played for a fool. She has learned the hard way that some people don't hesitate to use others for personal gain, and now she's ready to speak her truth. The question remains, will Jessica's revelations shake Meghan's carefully curated public image? If Jessica's allegations are substantiated, the fallout could go beyond personal betrayal. This could challenge everything Meghan stands for publicly and privately. Will the public continue to buy into the carefully polished version of Meghan Markle, or will the truth finally come out? The stakes are higher than ever, and the story is just beginning to unfold. The saga continues to unfold, and the repercussions of Jessica Mulroney's revelations could have far-reaching consequences, not just for Meghan Markle, but for the entire narrative surrounding her rise to fame. As Jessica moves into a new phase of her life, freshly empowered by independence, she is poised to take back control over her own story. Sources close to Jessica say that this time she's armed with evidence, a timeline, text exchanges, and even possibly audio or video recordings that expose a different side of Meghan's carefully cultivated image. Jessica's accusations are not just about a fractured friendship, they paint a much darker picture of strategic manipulation and exploitation. Friends of Jessica are describing her as a woman who is finally speaking out after years of being silenced, strategically protecting herself from the backlash that followed her own public scandals. After all, the damage Meghan's distance caused her was not only emotional but also professional. Jessica's career had once flourished alongside Meghan's rise, but the fallout from their fallout created a vacuum that swallowed her own opportunities. It's one thing to lose a friend, it's another to lose your career, your reputation, and your support system all in one go. Yet, despite everything, Jessica's silence has only fueled the mystery surrounding the true nature of her relationship with Meghan. The public, of course, has been fed a clean narrative about Meghan. The ambitious actress turned duchess who was a victim of circumstance, struggling against the monarchy's expectations while tirelessly fighting for social justice. Her platform, however, remains one of empowerment, a beacon of success built on resilience and personal integrity. But this is where the cracks begin to appear. According to Jessica's confidants, Meghan's public image is nothing but a facade, a polished story created to garner sympathy and support. Behind closed doors, sources claim, Meghan is more about strategic positioning than authentic relationships. She is reportedly someone who cuts ties when those relationships no longer serve her purpose. Jessica, once a trusted ally, was quickly discarded when Meghan no longer needed her. This wasn't just about a friendship fading, it was about a calculated choice to sever ties when the stakes got high. The timeline of events leading to Jessica's eventual decision to speak out is filled with significant moments. These moments paint a picture of a woman who once viewed Meghan as a sister, only to be left in the dust when it no longer suited the Duchess's plans. The summer of 2020, which saw Jessica caught up in the racial justice movement and accused of privilege, marked a major turning point. It was at this moment that Meghan, who had always positioned herself as a voice for equality, reportedly stepped away. She distanced herself from Jessica in a time of crisis, abandoning her friend when she needed support the most. Jessica, already feeling the weight of her own personal and professional struggles, found herself alone in the storm. And this, insiders say, was the moment that sealed the fate of their relationship. Jessica felt betrayed on a level that went beyond mere silence. It was a blatant act of neglect, a confirmation of her worst fear, that Meghan had used her for personal gain and then discarded her without a second thought. The more Jessica reflects on these moments, the more her anger intensifies. Sources close to her say she is no longer the quiet woman who kept her hurt to herself. Jessica is reportedly ready to share her truth, regardless of the fallout it may bring. But what truly sets Jessica's story apart from typical gossip and betrayal narratives is the complexity of the relationship. Sources say Jessica believes that the seeds of betrayal were sown long before their public fallout. She recalls times when the lines between personal and professional blurred in ways that were uncomfortable, moments where Meghan seemed to cross boundaries that a true friend never would. One of the key events that Jessica points to is the charity gala in 2018, when Meghan and Ben appeared overly familiar, whispering and sharing private moments that raised eyebrows among those present. It's these kinds of interactions, Jessica now believes, that were indicative of a deeper, more troubling dynamic between her husband and Meghan, a dynamic that was never fully acknowledged but always simmered beneath the surface. Insiders claim that this was a relationship built on trust, yes, but also on ambition. Meghan, ever the savvy networker, reportedly knew how to play the game, how to use people to climb higher, faster, and further. And Jessica, who had once been at the center of Meghan's inner circle, became a casualty of that ambition. She now sees herself as a pawn in Meghan's rise to fame, one that was used and discarded when the spotlight moved elsewhere. That realization has been devastating for Jessica, who had poured so much of herself into a relationship she thought was built on mutual respect and affection. Sources close to Jessica claim that this painful betrayal didn't just end with Meghan distancing herself. It extended into Jessica's professional life, which had once flourished alongside Meghan's growing visibility. With Meghan's newfound celebrity, Jessica's influence and reputation should have continued to grow, but instead, the opposite happened. After the public fallout in 2020, Jessica's career suffered immensely. She lost endorsements, television roles, and access to the influential circles that had once embraced her. It was as if, once Meghan turned her back, everything she had worked for crumbled into dust. The emotional toll was compounded by the strain on her marriage to Ben, with whispers circulating in Toronto that their relationship was already faltering long before the public break with Meghan. But what really seems to have broken Jessica's spirit, sources say, is the realization that the friendship was never what it seemed. It wasn't just a case of a friendship turning sour. It was a case of one woman using another for personal gain. Jessica now believes Meghan used her connections, her social status, and even her family ties to propel herself forward. When Jessica was no longer useful, she was discarded. This is the painful truth that Jessica has finally come to accept, and it's the truth that she is now prepared to reveal to the world. As Jessica prepares to take control of her own narrative, she is reportedly more determined than ever to expose the truth. She's not just talking about a broken friendship or emotional betrayal. She's talking about a calculated manipulation that, if true, could drastically alter the public perception of Meghan Markle. Those close to Jessica say she's no longer content to remain silent and let Meghan's carefully crafted image go unchallenged. With her life, career, and reputation on the line, Jessica is reportedly ready to reveal everything about Meghan, about the friendship, and about the truth that was buried beneath the glamour. This isn't just gossip. This is a woman who has been deeply affected by the actions of someone she once called a sister. The fallout from Jessica's story will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Meghan, but for everyone involved in this complicated web of ambition, betrayal, and power. Whether or not Jessica's accusations hold weight, they are already reshaping the way the public views Meghan's rise. What was once seen as a fairy tale story of friendship and mutual support is now a complex and deeply uncomfortable tale of exploitation and betrayal. The world will be watching as Jessica's story continues to unfold. Will she expose everything, or will she keep some of her painful truths hidden?